if another family member attempts to take control of their project. The possibilities are endless because fashion at Forrester Creations is never just fashion. It represents identity, power, legacy, and family pride. RJ's pitch could therefore become the beginning of a larger professional storyline. It may also represent RJ's attempt to step out of the shadow of the older Forresters. Instead of simply being known as Ridge Forrester's son, RJ can begin establishing his own reputation. For Zend, this could be equally important. Zend has repeatedly demonstrated that he has the talent to compete at the highest level. But his relationship with the Forrester family has sometimes been complicated by questions of recognition and opportunity. Working with RJ could either strengthen his position or expose new insecurities. The difference will depend on whether the two men can genuinely respect each other's contributions. And that is exactly where soap opera storytelling can turn a promising partnership into a complicated rivalry. Meanwhile, Carter's storyline has much darker potential. His agreement with Daphne might temporarily stabilize his personal life, but the secret involving Steffy remains unresolved. The longer the secret survives, the greater the eventual explosion could become. Secrets in daytime drama rarely disappear. They grow. They collect additional lies. They force characters to cover one mistake with another. Eventually, someone asks the wrong question at the wrong time. And when that happens, everything can collapse. The most dangerous part for Carter and Steffy is that they may begin to believe they have successfully moved past the situation. That is when people become careless. A glance that lasts too long. A defensive reaction. An unexplained disappearance. A suspicious message. A conversation overheard by the wrong person. Any of these could expose the truth. Daphne's presence in Los Angeles makes that possibility even more compelling. She is now physically closer to the people and circumstances surrounding Carter. She is no longer distant from the situation. The environment itself could eventually provide clues. And if Daphne discovers the truth, the emotional fallout could be enormous. She may not only question Carter's actions. She could question every conversation they have had since the betrayal. That is what makes hidden betrayal so damaging. The discovery does not affect only the present. It forces the betrayed person to reconsider the past. Suddenly, moments that once seemed innocent become suspicious. Promises become questionable. Explanations become evidence. And trust becomes almost impossible to rebuild. Steffy faces a similar problem. Even if she believes that keeping the hookup secret protects everyone, secrecy can create its own emotional burden. She has to live with the knowledge that the people around her are making decisions without knowing the complete truth. That can become increasingly difficult if those decisions involve Carter, Daphne, or other members of the family. The episode therefore feels like a transitional chapter. It does not necessarily need a huge explosion to be important. Instead, it establishes positions. RJ moves toward a new professional opportunity. Zend is presented with a chance to collaborate. Carter attempts to define his future with Daphne. Daphne returns to Los Angeles with a new understanding of her situation. Steffy remains connected to a secret that could eventually affect several relationships. These developments create multiple roads leading toward future conflict. The most fascinating contrast is between RJ and Zend's potential partnership and Carter's inability to create a truly honest partnership. RJ and Zend are attempting to build something through communication. Carter is attempting to preserve something through secrecy. One approach has the potential to create a future. The other may eventually destroy one. That contrast gives the episode a deeper thematic meaning. At Forrester Creations, the younger generation may be learning that success requires cooperation. Meanwhile, the older emotional conflicts continue demonstrating what happens when people allow secrets, desire, and fear to control their decisions. This could be an important turning point for RJ. If Zend accepts his pitch, RJ may finally receive the validation he has been searching for. But if the project creates tension, he could discover that professional independence is much harder than it looks. Either way, RJ is stepping forward. And that is significant. For Zend, the decision may be equally revealing. If he supports RJ, he demonstrates confidence in his own abilities and in his cousin's potential. If he becomes threatened by RJ's ideas, the partnership could quickly transform into another Forrester competition. At the same time, Carter and Daphne's agreement may create the illusion of stability. But viewers should be careful not to mistake an agreement for resolution. The real issue has not disappeared. The betrayal remains. The secret remains. The emotional consequences remain. And Steffy remains connected to the situation. That means the question is no longer simply whether Carter and Daphne can move forward. The bigger question is whether they can move forward once the entire truth is known. That is a much more difficult challenge. The August 20th episode ultimately succeeds by placing hope and danger side by side. RJ and Zin look toward the future, while Carter and Steffy remain trapped by the consequences of the recent past. Forrester Creations may be preparing for a new creative era, but the personal relationships surrounding the company remain dangerously unstable. And that is exactly what makes the episode compelling. The biggest story may not be what happened in Monaco. It may be what everyone brings home from Monaco. RJ brings ambition. Zin brings creative experience. Daphne brings a new understanding of her relationship with Carter. Carter brings a secret. Steffy brings guilt and emotional uncertainty. And the rest of the family brings questions that have not yet been answered. As these characters continue interacting, the pressure will only increase. RJ and Zin's collaboration could become a major professional success story, or the beginning of a new rivalry. Carter and Daphne could genuinely attempt to rebuild their future, or discover that their agreement was based on a foundation too fragile to survive. And Carter and Steffy's secret could remain hidden for a while longer, but the longer it survives, the more explosive its eventual discovery could be. That is the real suspense coming out of this episode. Not whether the characters have problems. They clearly do. The suspense is about who will discover the truth first, who will be forced to make a choice, and who will suffer when the carefully constructed stories finally fall apart. In the world of the bold and the beautiful, love, business, and family are never truly separate. RJ's idea could change Forrester Creations. Carter's agreement could change his personal future. Steffy's secret could change several families at once. And Daphne's return to Los Angeles places her closer than ever to the truth. For now, everyone appears to be moving forward. But appearances can be deceiving. The most dangerous secrets are often the ones everyone believes have already been buried. And if Carter and Steffy are not careful, the secret they are protecting may eventually become the very thing that destroys the future they are trying so desperately to control. The August 20th episode therefore leaves viewers with an intriguing combination of possibility and impending disaster. RJ and Zin may be building something new for Forrester Creations, while Carter, Daphne, and Steffy are unknowingly standing on unstable emotional ground. One storyline is about creating the future. The other is about surviving the consequences of the past. And sooner or later, those two worlds are bound to collide.